We're live.
We need like
Everyone. So what do we need?
we need like non-copyright music to start off things.
No. We've got StreamYard's basic music feeding the ducks.
Show us.
There we go. Welcome to episode 113 BOINC Radio Podcast. Join us live. Why is it blurring out your mouth?
What?
I think it's because you fuzz your background. I think it's having trouble with your facial hair growing. Today's episode is titled "Getting a Life at Home." I think Delta will explain that to us a little later. You can join us as we record these on the first Friday of every month going forward, 5 p.m. Eastern. Let me turn down the music. Too much fun here. And we're going to talk about all things BOINC. So, hi.
Hey, how's it going?
It's good. I'm getting ready to head down
some news,
to...
or is it beverage time?
Well, beverage first, baby. You can't just jump into the news like that. Get us warmed up with a little hydration.
Okay, Oak has done it again. I don't know why they keep pumping out new flavors. I have a feeling that there's like an employee of Oak who's just like listening to all of these podcasts and they like know where I live. So they're just restocking the Woolies that's nearest to me with like new Oak flavors. But this one's especially interesting because in the US, you guys don't have the Streets brand, right? The Streets brand of ice cream.
No, we do have a great video game called Streets of Rage, though.
Yeah. I don't know if you see the logo. Doesn't like it there. But we have Oak Paddle Pop Rainbow flavor. So for those of you that don't know, Oak Paddle Pop Rainbow, Streets Paddle Pop is a brand of ice cream in Australia. The Streets is probably like the most famous brand of ice cream in Australia. It's just pretty much a standard ice cream. It's on like a little stick and it's got like milk, cream, sugar, everything you want on it, pretty much. The rainbow flavor itself is like this kind of like nice spiral sort of like sort of thing. So personally, I kind of like the rainbow flavor. I remember having it quite a bit as a kid. Just in general, eating Streets ice cream as a kid and paddle pops was great. But Oak decided to turn it into a drink. So this time, I think turning an ice cream into a milk drink, I think is a reasonable thing because it is, after all, made out of ice cream. Let me read to you the blurb that they always put on the side of their cartons. Hungry Thirsty likes lurking in the dark. Oak Rainbow Paddle Pop is ready to rain on its parade with pops of colorful caramel and a full-on creamy flavor that'll send Hungry Thirsty paddling. Welcome to the land of sunshine and rainbows, Hungry Thirsty.
So it's a caramel drink? Sorry, caramel?
It's rainbow. It's not caramel, but it does kind of taste like caramel. Like it does have a very strong tone of caramel. Look, it was either this or getting the Neapolitan Oak.
I would be very curious about the Neapolitan. Not that you made the wrong choice, but
I don't know if they'll still have it stocked. So if they still have it stocked in a month, I'll definitely grab it. Because that's another interesting one.
Very cool.
Yeah,
love it.
This one ranks pretty highly with me. I like it.
How much sugar? 63.
It's probably 60. Let's see. Yeah, 2 servings, 31 grams, 62.
Oh.
That's Oak for you.
Let's do some BOINC news. We've got a release that I think you have notes for.
Yeah, so BOINC release version 7.22. There have been 2 patches for it so far. It looks pretty kind of thin. Like there's not too many features. Let's see, what do we got? Let's start with Android. Android now displays disk usage on the Projects tab, which is interesting. Add an option to have tasks always expanded. I think I actually worked on that. For Windows, Linux, and Mac, so the desktop app. Add an estimated time remaining for file transfers. Estimated completion date and completion before deadline columns to the task tab. Add estimated completion column to advanced views. Add not in use computing preferences. So we get more preferences for computing. Some command line changes by the looks of it. There's an interesting config option for Windows called no RDP check, which is interesting. I'm not sure what that does. And also an important change for some other things that are using BOINC is don't change the CPID, so your cross-project identifier, if detached from the oldest project. A couple other fixes by the looks of it. Fix the non-BOINC CPU usage limit. I noticed I had a bit of issues with this too. So when you set in your options, like, don't use BOINC if there's this much CPU usage, sometimes it didn't work. So I'm glad that they actually kind of fixed it. Let's see. Nah, just more kind of like low-level fixes, updates, GPU resources, fix account creation, accented characters. That's interesting. Add a warning message in preferences for suspension. Yeah, so it just looks like quality of life improvements, some fixes. The CPID change was probably the biggest one. Pretty much just quality of life changes in this by the looks of it.
Neat. Good to have them always when they happen. Of course, anyone is welcome to jump into the BOINC repo and contribute to the next update, as they will. Very cool open source software going around. Have you caught the bug yet? Ha! Man, that should be a thing. All right, we got some news from some BOINC projects. SR Base, this is from June 12th, since we're doing these monthly now, so some of this news might be outdated, but on June 12th, SR Base posted that they were looking for a Linux wrapper programmer. That's basically it. If they have some experience with C++ and BOINC, they're looking for your help. Go to their forums to learn more. From Milky Way at Home, the separation project has come to an end. Of course, they thank everyone for use of their processors. That means they will be suspending GPU support for Milky Way at Home once this shuts down, because it seems like it's the only GPU application. That's sad.
Not entirely. If you read on in the news piece, they say that the reason why the separation runs project is shutting down for Milky Way is because they have enough data to actually make a research paper now. So it's not shutting down because it's shutting down. It's completed, essentially.
Yes, it is happy that it's completed. It's sad that we now need to find other uses for our GPUs. And my video card on my main PC broke the other day, and it was a lot of fun for about 5 minutes. A lot of different colors, a lot of different lines going on. So that one is no longer contributing to BOINC.
Yeah, I remember when one of my GPUs did that as well. It's interesting times.
So they do mention that the N-Body project is the only application that will be running on Milky Way at Home from this point forward. Hopefully they'll come up with a new application after they get this paper out and be back with GPU work units sometime in the future. You want to do any of the news items here, or should I just keep rolling through?
Keep rolling. You've already gone through the ones I got.
All right. Blaise Pascal's 400th birthday challenge happened at Prime Grid, so we'll skip over that one. From Yahoo, aliquot sequence 837,198 has terminated. Do you know what that means?
I feel like I remember. I don't know if I have actually done this before.
I don't think
on
it
a
doesn't ring
project
a bell.
brief.
And literally, that's all the forum post says. So we'll move on. Wendless has, of course, found a 12-digit factor of P2203, and it has been found how many times, you ask? 416,702 times. Cool. Dennis at home has released some results and new simulations. That's pretty cool. Blah blah blah. They will keep us informed with new developments. About it. Continuing to work on their models.
Quickly searching up what an aliquot sequence is. So put simply, it's a sequence of integers, sequence of numbers, such that the next number is a proper divisor of the previous term. So it's the next term is a number which divides the previous term, sort of thing. It's a little bit more complex than that, but that's kind of what it is. And the importance of this is that this kept going for a very, very, very long time. So the length of the sequence looks to be about 4,611 numbers. And just for like a little bit of scale, the length of the aliquot sequence start at n. 0, 3. I think the longest aliquot sequence in like the first 100 numbers, so from 1 to 100, is about 15 by the looks of it. All right, so for the scale, this aliquot sequence is 4,611, which is pretty high.
Noted. Congrats and cool. Moving on. Whoa, yo at home. Website. That's probably on my end. No, this is just a really hard website to read. Not gonna read that. They have. It says the headline is P73 ECM factor. But their all news page is very noisy and difficult to read, so not even gonna try. But from number fields at home, subfield 3 is officially complete. It's been going on for several years. They, of course, thank all the awesome volunteers. And the results of the search can be found on their forum. Very cool. Moving on. There will be an outage at World Community Grid on July 25th. They are performing maintenance of the data center where the WCG servers reside. Everything will be down, including their websites, forums, and BOINC server for an estimate of 2 days. So we shall see how that goes. Is anyone here crunching WCG, by the way? Is it going well? Is it ever, could you say it's a project that is functioning now?
Personally, with myself, not really. I think I have WCG as like a backup project. So like if one of my other projects don't pump out any work units, it just hops onto our community grid. But no, I've been mainly doing Einstein.
Okay, Toaststone says that it works fine for them. You've changed your name to T ellipses. That's very confusing because I'm like, oh, what part of his name is cut off? But there's no part of your name is cut off. Clever move, sir. So we've got 2 anecdotes. One is from someone who's not really using it anyway. To crunch it. Says it's working fine. So good to hear.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything bad happening about their servers or anything. No downtime, except for this one that they're reporting.
moving on then. Yeah, still Stone's in low CPU mode during the summer. That makes sense. So we'll move on to rig search. They have processed the square of number 22. It has, I'm going to try and say this number. This is going to be fun. See, there's 3 digits, there's 3 digits, there's 3 digits. That's not bad. All right, 1,185,453,085 orthogonal beings. Just like square number 21 and square 8. Square 22 and square 21 are not equal, but one of them can be produced from other by Rose permutation. Interesting. After several years, we are again faced with interesting effects of Rose permutation, and that is interesting. I agree. They, of course, thank all
Yes, so basically what that means is although that the squares of 22 and 21 are not equal, you can basically take like the rows and then shuffle them around and you'll get the other square pretty much.
Yeah, and it seems like that's pretty rare.
Yeah, because it has to obey the rules of the Latin square as well. So
see, these are the weird things you stumble across when you do these math projects. And sometimes you stumble across something that's like, oh my God, wait, I can just help this, figure out a way to make computer processors better or something. I don't know. Make satellites function. Cool. So that's all the news we got on our servers. Anyone else knows any news, throw them in the Discord. We'll bring it into the recording for you. Otherwise, I have found myself in desperate need of a life here at home. So Delta, I'm hoping you can help me out here.
Oh, I can definitely help you out. So I've been going into all the old projects that have been either archived, shut down, lost into the ether, or lost on archive.org. And I've got another one for you. It's called A Life at Home. So
can I guess what it's about before you describe it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, there's 2 possibilities here. One, they simulate like a sim type person, or maybe they just run the Sims on BOINC. And it's just a person walking around their house, like going to bed, waking up, getting breakfast, going to the bathroom, leaving to go to work, and then coming home and like practicing on the easel to get their art really high. Or it's like playing with DNA and RNA and trying to simulate the creation of life.
No, I'd say you're kind of far off.
Dang it. All right. What is it?
Yeah. Okay, so you think that MLC at Home is the only kind of like neural network or like AI project you can think of, right? Is there any other projects that you can think of that do AI or machine learning?
No.
Well, A Life at Home was probably the first one to kind of dabble with neural networks. Basically, A Life at Home was started all the way back in 2004. And I don't think it was up for very long. But it did have some results. So they were up long enough to actually get the results, which is good. It was all the way back in the days where they were advertising that their BOINC app runs on Windows XP and 98. That's how far back we're going. So the project is from the University of Bielefeld, I think that's how you pronounce it, in the Department of Biological Cybernetics. So to kind of summarize what they were doing, they were trying to make some sort of automata that could walk on 6 legs, just like an insect. And the way that they were doing that was by using pretty much a form of a neural network. So this is like the very, 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 very early days of machine learning before we get up to all the different things that we have nowadays. And back in 2004, there was not a lot of computational power to actually train these networks. So based off of what they said on their project website, or at least the archive of their project website, it was kind of hard to determine the exact technology that they were using. So it kind of sounded like they were using a neural network, but also it kind of sounded like they were using a genetic algorithm as well. So it might have been a mix of the two, or it might have been their own kind of custom one. But yeah, it was actually pretty hard to tell what exactly was running. The web archive only goes so far back, and usually doesn't store like images and other things like that. So although they didn't have a research paper, as far as I saw, they did have some results. And these results, from what I gathered, were like images or like videos, but obviously they weren't indexed by the web archive. So unfortunately, there's no kind of solid things that I can show you, and they didn't upload anything to YouTube like Pirates at Home. So from what I gathered, it sounds like they did actually have some pretty promising results. They probably managed to get like some sort of stick insect looking thing to kind of crawl along the ground and stay upright and like walk to a goal sort of thing. All with running on computers all the way back in 2004, which like would have been like, I don't know, like Pentium like 2, like 1 core, 1, sometimes maybe even 2 gigahertz CPUs, probably not even that. We're talking 32-bit computers, so there was no more than like 4 gigs of RAM. Everyone was using hard disks at that time. I don't think SSDs were even a thing back then. So it's kind of amazing that they could actually get some results of like insect-looking things walking and actually control it using some sort of machine learning automata. Yeah, so they also had some images of statistics as well. Again, they weren't saved. So they would have found some sort of like growth in the learning. They would have found like some sort of learning curve, and then like the tapering off of the curve, and showed that, yeah, it was in fact learning how to get through things. So one thing, yeah, so there isn't really that much information about this project, but I just wanted to bring it to light since it was a machine learning project. A couple funny things. Yeah, they did mention that the applications were for Windows XP and 98. And also, I'm interested to note that they didn't even mention Internet Explorer compatibility on their site. I'm pretty sure like they only had compatibility. They mentioned, oh, if the website's not working, use Mozilla Firefox. So I'm kind of glad that they didn't mention Internet Explorer. Yeah, do you have any questions about it? Because it is kind of a mysterious project.
No, it's a great name. It's probably the best name BOINC project I've heard to date.
I wonder who the hell came up with that name.
Yeah, it is curious though, because there's a whole. I found it once a while ago, but there's a big list of over 100 BOINC projects that have existed and no longer exist, and there's just so many of them. And I'm always wondering, like, what happened to the people that made these? Like, it was not easy to make a BOINC project. It's still not easy to make a BOINC project. Someone went through all that effort, made a thing, and it's gone.
Yeah. Like, I'm just going back to the archive.org to see if I missed anything. And yeah, it was mentioned that the project was put on hold due to a shortage in manpower. Registrations are disabled for the time being. Work units will be handed out only occasionally. Best thanks to all of those who participated so far. And that was in 2005, about a year after it was it went live.
Yeah. I mean, you're learning setting up microgrid that it's not the easiest thing in the world to set up a BOINC project and make an application and have it have a go.
Not at all. Even with the Docker container, which does pretty much like 95% of the things that you need, it's still not easy.
Yeah, and Vitalik, like by your side, 90% of the way. Anytime you could just like ping him and be like, "Hey, Vitalik, help me."
Yeah.
Still not the easiest thing in the world. Yeah. So speaking of cool thing out of the SEI, we paid out over $1,000 in dollars for a bug bounty for the
Big Benjamins, eh?
yeah, Big Benny's fixing the Linux packaging, I believe it was. That was a big one though. It was a great use of the bounty program. Someone came in and just was like, "Hey, I can help with this." It's on the SCI GitHub repo, and Alex, I think, make a snick, put him in touch with Vitaly, and he got to work. 3 months later, I think, big release. Linux packaging should be automated moving forward, or something like that. I understand 12% of the words I'm saying, so.
Yeah. So basically, what the problem was that no one was maintaining the like installer packages for Linux. So the installer package for Windows was all fine. It was in like the MSI version or whatever it is, like that Windows uses to install applications. But on Linux, because Linux is so vast and like so spread out, there's so many different like packaging methods and like package managers that all do things differently. It's really hard to maintain. So at some point, the packaging for Ubuntu Linux, or Debian Linux rather, as a whole, just failed. Like it, you could still install BOINC, but it would not configure it the right way. It would not grant the right permissions on the directories that it chucked everything in, and it just wouldn't set up everything properly. So often what people would have to do is install it via the package and then manually fix all of the issues with it, like maybe changing the permissions on a directory, redoing a config file, stuff like that. So now that we have someone who's actually maintained these packages, it should be good going forward. Linux users should just be able to just install, and it should just work. That's the aim of it, and that's why we needed to hand out that large amount of money, because it was a really big project to get this all done.
Cool. Thank you for that. There are, I think, 7 or 8 more bounties up on the BOINC, or up on the SCI repo. If anyone wants to take a look, there are some good ones up there. And we're always looking to add more. If you know of an issue on the BOINC repo that should be a bounty, let us know. If you know of an open source project that aligns with the SCI's mission, which is reconnect the public with science, feel free to let us know and we'll look into it. Maybe we can make a bounty for it. It's really cool to see that happen though. And it's a brand new contributor to BOINC too. It was not someone from the community. It was someone new who founded a bounty and just wanted to get some money, and they learned about BOINC and made it happen. Pretty neat. That's all I got though. You got any thoughts on your end you want to talk about? Feels?
I'm thinking we need to do another BOINC census soon. I got to start working on that.
What? Already?
Yeah, might as well get a head start on it. It should be pretty easy to get it all set up again, because now that I've like set up the survey software and then also the analytics part of it, all I need to do is basically kind of like copy everything over and then tweak it based off of the feedback from the last census.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for getting started on work early, but that's like, we send that out in November, right? So there's all of July, essentially, August, September, October, end of November. So that's
I'm just pointing out, it's what's on my mind at the moment. They're just things I can think about.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if there's any changes between this and last year's census. I have a question for you. Maybe you know. Maybe I'll have to send you a picture here. So I have a little piece of brass. It's not little. It's a big revolver, essentially. On the back of it, it's got an inside-out gear. Can you picture that with the teeth around the inside?
Yep.
Okay, so there's a tool to use to spin these types of gears, and I don't know what it's called. And like the gear can't just spin freely. There's a little knob that has to get pushed down before the gear will spin. And the tool is called it's essentially a tube with little teeth on the end of it. Yeah. It's impossible to Google. Like, do you think ChatGPT could give me that answer if I just told it?
That's probably a good idea. Honestly, I think that's probably what ChatGPT is like built for. You're trying to like figure out what something is, but you don't know the proper name for it. So you have to describe it. Yeah, personally, I've never worked with inside-out gears at all. I have a big box full of like little screw bits, like screw heads that you can stick onto like a magnetic screwdriver. And my lord, I didn't even know how many different types of screw heads there are until I got this box.
What's the tool that opens inside-out gears? This is now the John Uses ChatGPT podcast. A gear puller? It can't just be a gear puller. It's like small O-ring, sort of. Not a giant gear. We can end the show whenever.
Yeah. Oh, we've gone over the 30-minute mark, so I think we're all good.
Okay, it's not a snap ring pliers, but it's in the same vein as a snap ring pliers. Man, if anyone knows, please find me and tell me. I need to open this thing, and I don't know even what to look for to get the tool or where to go to find this tool. I'm lost without.
We got some audience members who are willing to help.
I'll post a picture in just a second on Discord. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll be back in 1 month's time, give or take, on the BOINC Network Discord server or wherever you're listening to this recording, be it on a podcast, streaming service, or a live stream on one of the social media things. Till then, bye.
And we'll also figure out whether you found that tool to fix the inside-out gear next time.
Turns out it's just me. I'm the tool.